My name is Jan Olsen. I've been an agile coach in Danske for a lot of years by now. But let's get back to that. To everybody, is there, as I said here, the 12th principle? Let's come back to that, what that actually is, because I don't have any numbers, so I just put 12 there. So my name is Jan Olsen. I'm a principal agile coach at Danske Bank. And I would like to start out by saying thank you to the community in Lithuania for letting us in. I know we paid for it, but we've been very warm welcome before we even had any money out of our pocket. So, and I love these community things. We do it a lot in Denmark and want to interact with it. I think it's fun to hear what other people are doing. Because as Susie says, there's no easy fix to this. This is something we will keep on doing forever to get better and better. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about. A little advertising, I'm not going to do a lot about that, but in Lithuania, Danske Bank is doing mainly IT development and having back office activity. So this is one of our free development centers. We have some smaller ones also, but one of our main free ones. And I think we're around 1/3 of the people actually working with development and back office are located in Lithuania today. I have the pleasure of being in Lithuania approximately once a month, and I will keep coming back as long as people want me here. So that's me. So the 12th principle, this is it. They don't have any numbers actually, but if you start counting them, they have. So the 12th principle is all about the reflection of what you actually do. In Scrum, we're talking about the sprint retrospective. The thing that most people doesn't notice here is we want to change behavior. Just as Susie said, I know I should exercise more. I should probably eat some better food. I travel a lot, so I should probably do that. But I don't either do it that easy. And most people I run into end up finding out this is hard because we want to change behaviors and we want to change organization for how things have been running since Ford and started to build cars. That was where we started to kind of set down management for what it was. And we're still running companies in the same fashion today. So that doesn't make it more easy, to be honest. So to jump in, what I would like to talk about is our journey. What have we done so far? What have the reflections been? And what is the improvements going forward as we see them for now? Because this is going to change again, but this is what we're seeing at the moment we need to do to succeed with this. Our scope, what we're working with, is 2,600 people. That is the development organization inside Danske. It's IT, it's what we call the business, so people having the customer interface, and it's the back office functionalities. So there's 2,600 people in the mix here. So that's kind of the scope that should kind of frame what we're working with. We started this journey, let's do this one first. So we started our journey in 2010, and there's a lot of reason for going agile. We can't say doing agile today because it's being agile, so I'm going to say going agile then. So what would the reason be to actually choose agile? And I would like to help you out. I also have a mentee here. So if you take your phone and go into the address again, this number here is something different than the conference is using. So if you're going into that number instead, what I would like you to do is to put in just a very short sentence what the motivation for going agile even is. Why do we even want agile? And when you're putting something in there, It will separate your words. So if you have more than one word, do some lines between them or something to make it a sentence. And as you're doing that, we still have the numbers up here. I will shift this over to the other one. There we go. So we have something with speed and flexibility and speeding up. We have something with faster, collaboration, efficiency, avoid failures, business delivery, client satisfaction, doing the right thing. Oh, a lot of speed here, and faster. Fast delivery, happiness. MVP, focus, done, innovation, transparency, all good things. Trust. Flexibility again, yeah. Leadership. Quality. So all good things, which I agree with, I guess, 99%. And let's go back to why we did it. This is actually why we did it. We bought software tools from IBM. We bought the Rational Suite. So we bargained for the price, and we wanted, of course, the price to go down. And at a certain point, IBM said, oh, you can't get it cheaper now, but we can throw in a bunch of consultants that can learn you to do these agile things, which you can use one of the tools for. And we said yes. So just to be very honest here, we didn't have a why. We didn't have, as Susie talked about, we didn't have a purpose with this transformation, to be honest. People liked it. But we didn't have a real purpose or why of doing it. It was kind of a bargaining that let's do this because we got it for free or nothing for free. So what we did then is that we bought the software, to be honest. We got a lot of consultants in there. At least we throw some of our own people into the mix. And we start this agile implementation at this time. And we only did it in IT. So this is an IT thing. I was on one of these teams when we started this, so I was part of the journey here as a participant. And I remember very honestly saying to our business representative, now we're doing this agile thing, you just put it in the backlog, we can't promise you anything if we're going to deliver anything or when. Which was totally wrong, but that's how we pretty much started. That's pretty much sums it up. But the curve is still kind of good. The people that were doing it were very good. They're independent consultants today, earning way more than I do. So something worked still. People liked it. But what happened then is that we hit the ceiling. And this is what kind of Susie also talked about. I don't know why she stole half my presentation, but the thing was that, again, this was only IT. And we have governance processes, we have budgeting in Danske, I guess most big companies have. We were running projects, not products. So the thing are that, then we hit the ceiling here. So the people inside the teams, they can kind of change the processes. They can change their way of working. But the structure, that we have projects, we have project proposals, we have budgets, and all that, there's nothing you just change yourself. That's given to you, like it or not. And in that mix, we then have the culture, which is, again, it's an old company. We have code that are 40 years old, to be honest. I think we probably have code that are older than that. So the issue are that these people were thriving in it, but then hit the ceiling. And when you're not allowed to do what you want, kind of the air goes out of the balloon. So our reflection on this was that, okay, how can we then do something about this? And kind of the energy kind of fizzled out, to be honest. What happened then is that we had an initiative that had the kind of real first impact. For those of you, this is in Denmark, everybody knows it, mobile pay is like Apple Pay. We made that back in 2013. What they did is that they got the business and IT together. They actually took that entire structuring out. I know I worked for a bank, right? But they took that entire structure thing out, all the governance processes, and just said, we're not going to do that. We don't care. So they took that part out, so they did the processes around how they wanted to work, and they kind of narrowed them down and say that then we create a culture around that. And they had kind of the first impact here for how to do that. And for us, this was kind of saying that, okay, let's see if we could do more of that. It's kind of weird that we kind of affine the structure in our organization in our size, but let's see if we can do more. So what ended up happening, we call these things for Moonshots. We took the second generation of these and then we put them into the mix and said that let's do more of these things where we don't care that much about the structure. So we actually took these people and located them in another building and said, do whatever, here's a bucket of money, do whatever you want with it. And they were actually allowed to do that for a couple of years. And they developed a couple of products this way. What we kind of learned of this was that there's something wrong. Now we actually see that there's something wrong with the structure that is holding these people back normally. Now these people could define and do this anyway. So what we ended up with saying that, okay, if this is the case, let's look at the customer focus then. So how are these succeeding? So we started mapping out different customer journeys. So buying and owning a house is one of them. So we have a full process. So now we're going from projects to products instead. So when we're talking value chain, we're talking about that journey from your going to a real estater to you actually refinancing your housing loan, whatever, 10 years later on. So we start focusing on that structure instead of having projects that we're running. So the products become kind of the main focus. And we find that customer journeys gives us a perfect tool because customer journeys are looking at pain points that people have in their travel. They lined up perfectly with building a backlog. So the highest pain points or the lowest pain points, the one that hurt the most, went on top of the backlog. So we started working with customer journey and looking into how to structure the organization based on this. So going from projects to product. It was the very first beginning of this. It were kind of slow. So then we also saw, back on the reflection on the Moonshots and this customer focus, we now needed to say, we need to get the business side of our organization to focus on IT, not on IT, also on IT, but focusing on agility. So agility being flexible and comprehending complex situations. So we developed a program for that where we had these people from the business side of the organization being agile ambassadors. So getting them into training programs and kind of rigid. We did kind of 4 workshops for them and then we put them through that. And then there wasn't that much happening. The impact was kind of lacking. And I should also say, on this time, I'm on this curve. I'm working as an agile coach inside IT, and we have our competitors working with agile in the business side. So we weren't communicating that much, to be honest. So they were building their program for the business part, and we were building inside IT. That was happens in a really big organization when you do it wrong. So then we come to kind of a consensus, as it says here. So we kind of now finding a path together, because we have seen this working in both places. So I wanted to kind of narrow it down. So again, we make a common approach for IT and business. We make a one-size-fits-all, which could sound good when we're getting IT and business together. But it's actually more or less a manual on 200 pages. People that worked a little bit at Agile transformation knows that that's mostly doesn't hold water. So this is very slow, and we're sitting on kind of an ivory tower and telling people what to do. This is how you do Agile, not being Agile, doing Agile. So, and we know already by then it was kind of wrong to do this, because we have experience with it before, that this doesn't work. But at least now we're kind of coming together, and we're getting the business and IT together on the same page. Then we're starting to actually do something. We're coming down from our ivory towers and start running some pilots with some defined initiatives. And here's where we don't throw out the 150 pages, but we kind of park it over here, and there's a good guidelines in there, but it didn't work as it did on paper. For some reason, human beings doesn't fit into a PowerPoint presentation. People are annoying that way. So what we're starting to do again, we're going out in the initiatives, and we start our actual inspect and adapt. And we're actually starting also on ramping up on coaches. And we have some learnings from our framework, to be honest, again, that we are doing these changes from them. So now we have 7 years down the road, or 8 years, depending on when you start and stop. And now we're actually starting to find why we want to do this and how our approach should be. So I like to tell this story when people say that they're going to be Agile in 6 months. They maybe have a starting point in 6 months, but it's a journey that never ends. And it's not ending for us either. The last thing I have on this part of it is that we are now we're seeing that all of these things kind of sum up, and it makes sense, and we start believing in it. All the things we've seen from here, that it actually worked. We had very short iteration. We had people in the street showing people things and getting direct feedback in minutes on what we do. And from that customer focus, again, taking away from the projects and focusing on products, customer journeys. And so it comes top of mind in the organization. And we today have the CEO as our main sponsor in this. And we are also making sure that we are gathering people that both have these customer journey experience, agile experience, and change experience, all in one pool of people to help with this transformation. So that's kind of our journey so far. So what is then the reflection on it? I mean, this is where we are now. So the reflections from our side is that this takes time. It really does. Maybe we have used too much time, I don't know, but it takes time. First of all, back to this one, again, if we do not, the structures are put in place. You have structure, you have metrics, and you have policies. And Susie has some other words in there. We're normally talking about structure, metrics, and policies. They are kind of guarding the culture. So we have reports, we have traffic lights, we have funding requests, and what are they put in place to kind of protect the culture. We also have people working with risk. We're in the bank. So therefore we also put up structures, policies around here to protect that risk part. And it's natural. But here come the agile thing and say that, oh, you should change all of this because we need to do it in another manner. And that's back to changing behaviors. So how can I be responsible for risk, making sure that we're not letting anything through and then letting these people deliver something every week? Is that even possible? So what we started working on now in our reflection is that we need kind of to have the leadership on board. So we have made leadership paths for every leaders in the organization that are part of this transformation on our own part of workshops where we are talking again about themselves, their behaviors as leaders, and how they are communicating to the staff. How are they leading people? Susie called everybody leaders. When we talk about leaders and leadership, we're talking about leaders. You could call them managers, but managers manage people where leaders lead people. And we want our people to be led, not to be managed. So we have to help with saying, okay, how do we deal with that entire structure, that protecting the culture? And the people that can change that is the leadership. In most organizations, the ordinary people do not have a chance of saying that we don't want to do that, or we don't care about the budget, we're just going to spend as much money as we want. We're not going to give you a report once a month on how things are progressing. So for us, this is a vital part that we're now working with. So we're working with the leadership and we're working with the organization. There's also a saying that some companies just become agile. I don't think they've become agile. I think they were agile already in their structure and their culture. We just give them a label now and it just works. Because they already have the culture and the structure to support this mindset, this flexibility. So this is kind of a thing we really work on, and you've probably also seen this before. We can do all the strategies, all the implementation, all the things we want. If we don't change the culture, that is never going to change. I don't know about you, but I've seen so many IT strategy 2020, and I saw one that was 2015 earlier on, and 2010 and whatever. I cannot remember half of them. And again, if you tell people that it's an environment that is safe to fail, you can say that in a strategy. But if somebody hits you in the head when you're failing, you're not going to change. And again, if we're taking that it's kind of a balance, because you can work directly with culture, but if you also change the structure, let's say we have a factory and you're moving the machines around, so people have to move around on the factory floor in another manner. They have to interact with other people to get things done. Then you're also starting to change the culture. So you can change the culture from a leadership perspective, but you can also change it from working with the organization. No buying. I think we have had every single consulting company that exists, not Agile Lithuania or the Agile coaches here, but everybody else inside our organization showing us how to do things. The thing are, I don't say it doesn't work for some. The thing are that most of these come with something that works, tell you how to do it, and then of course you throw them out, first of all because you want to save money, but at the same time because they were expensive, most of them. Also back to money. But you throw them out, and surprise, surprise, everything collapses and are done back to as before. So there's nothing much changing. So we said, and again, our journey is long, it's very long, that we need to own this ourselves. We need to do it ourselves. We need to be out there, we need to inspect and adapt, and showing transparency in the organization, what is working and is not working. So we have monthly meetings with our CEO telling what is not working. Most of the things they throw back to us and ask us to do something about them, but that's another story. So and I come back to one of the other things is that if you do not have leadership buy-in, if they don't understand the purpose, back to 2010 we didn't understand our purpose. Today we need them to understand it, because if they don't understand it, we're not going to change the culture, and they are still going to ask for traffic lights, reports, budget funding, and all that stuff. So this is something we have to own ourselves. So it takes time.